Okay, so with cervical myogenic, when it's muscle related, we're thinking length, strength, control. So with length for cervical, we're thinking about what muscle tests we want to test the length of. Myogenic, we're thinking about how we do our isometric inner range holding tests. And then we don't do our static and dynamic control tests for myogenic cervical. Instead, we do the sensory motor control ones, which is the laser, the vestibular motor control ones, the ocular motor, and the kind of balance ones as well. Okay, so for muscle length tests, the thing we're looking for is how you explain to the patient what it is you're going to do. So we're going to look at the length of the upper traps, levator scapulae, and also the rotator muscles and sternocleidomastoid. So for these ones, I'll just get you to shuffle to the edge of the bed that way a little bit. Okay, so if you hold on to the side of the bed with your left hand, so we're going to test the left upper fibre of traps. So hold in the bed there with your left hand, just take your head down to the right hand side. So side flexion, sorry, so back up to the side there, side bend, that's it. Okay, and then using your right hand just to hold your head and put it down towards your floor. Good. Okay, so we're testing the length here of the left upper trapezius muscle. What we then do is take the pressure off and repeat the other side. So you hold the edge of the bed with that right hand and pull down. Good, and again we're testing the length of the right one. So we're not testing the length as in getting a tape measure out and actually testing it. So what we need to do is ask the patient if there's a difference both sides. So that feel the same both sides there, any restriction either side? Okay. Levator scapulae is the next muscle. So in this area you can also demonstrate. So this time you put your hand behind your back. You're then going to take your head away from that hand. So you're going to go down to the left side bend again there. That's it. And then bring your head in towards your chest at the same time. Use your other hand to pull down on your head. So this hand down, pull it through. Okay, so we're now stressing or straining or putting a stretch on the levator scapulae muscle on this side. Okay, again we want to compare to the other side, so do the same the other way. Good. Forwards, and then use your hand to pull forward and down. Excellent. Any difference between the two sides there? Feel like the same both ways? Good. Okay, sternocleidomastoid is the next one. So for this one, the prompt you can give the patient is to look up and then to the corner of the room. Okay, you feel the stretch in the front of your neck here. Excellent. We're going to do the same the other way, so up to the other side. Good. Feel the stretch in there again. Any difference between the two there? So again, we can ask patients those sort of questions as we go. Remember, your assessment is based towards the patient, so even putting hands on and letting them know which muscle it is they should feel stretching is a good thing to do. Then the rotator muscles, so if you get you to look over your shoulder and using the same hand on your chin, so this one, sorry, on your chin, just push it down a little bit further. Feel the muscles in your side of your neck here stretching. Good. And back down again, and the same the other way. Good. Okay, so that would be it for muscle length testing. So if you're thinking about timing and whether you can fit it all into 15 minutes, technically that should only take 2 or 3 minutes, as well as your observations. So we're only about 5 minutes of our way through now. Inner range holding test then, so the isometric inner range holding test, if you have a line your back with your head at this end, just flip around. So I would utilise as much as possible the kind of foot of the bed just because it hasn't got the hole in it. Good practice would be anybody with neck pain, you want them to start with a pillow so that they're kind of in a comfortable position, even though you will take the pillow out a little bit later. So for isometric inner range holding, what try and think about is what you would do for the quads. So what is inner range, what is outer range, and what is mid-range. So inner range is when the muscle's at its shortest position. Isometric would mean that we're putting a static contraction on that muscle against resistance, and then we're holding for a kind of few seconds. What we're looking for is if it reproduces symptoms or if there's weakness one side compared to the other. Okay, so patient's on their back, I'm going to take the weight of Oscar's head and then take the pillow out. It should feel like I've got a 5 kilogram weight in my hand, so it should feel quite heavy. If not, it means the patient's not relaxed, so maybe spend a couple of seconds relaxing. You right there? Okay, so I'm going to side bend the neck. Okay, so I've shortened the left side flexors. Now try and keep your head down, don't let me push you. I'm trying to push him back to neutral. Isometrically holding. Any problems there? Good. It's going to go the other way now, so side bend to the right. Try and keep your head there, don't let me push you. Any problems? Good. Back to the middle. Rotation. Just going to turn your head to the right. Hand on cheek. Try and turn your head further. Any problems there? And to the left. Try and turn your head. Any problems there? Okay. Extension. I'm going to take you into extension, so inner range, and now try and push down in towards the bed. Any problems? No. And I'm just going to rest your head back down again. Then for flexion, the way we do that one isn't against manual resistance, it's against gravity resistance. So this is our deep neck flexor endurance test. So you used to try and do a double chin. Okay, and then lift the back of your head off the bed about an inch. Hold there. Good. And this is an endurance test, so we can technically see how long they can go for. The two things that would stop the test was if Oscar loses retraction of his neck, or his head touches the back of the bed, or goes any more or less than an inch away. Okay, I'll let you finish it there if you want that. You can go extra marks there because I've given you some studies about normative data, so you can actually quote in that section how long males on average can hold for, how long females on average can hold for. You can kind of drop a few extra kind of quotes into to get the extra marks there as well. Okay, so we've done our muscle length tests and our isometric inner range holding tests. The next thing you would do for cervical would be the sensory motor control tests. So have a seat on the edge of the bed. So what you will have on the day is every bed, so all 3 examination beds, will have a laser set up with a chair 90 centimetres from the wall and a target on the wall. What we're looking for this part is for you to go through, if there's time, it might well be that we move you on from this section without actually demonstrating it, but if you've got loads of time, or we might come back to it a bit later, it's going through how you would put the laser on. So it just slots on the blue strap like that. You right with this? Putting it on your head. Let's just imagine Oscar is 90 centimetres away from a wall in front of him. Sorry, that's right. Yeah. Okay, we'd imagine we're pointing the laser target at the centre of the wall, and we turn the laser on. I won't do it because I'll blind everybody. What we'd then do is we'd adjust the laser to make sure it points to the centre. You don't get the patient to try and point it to the centre because they might be kind of in a weird position then. Okay, and then you're going to close your eyes, turn your head as far as you can to the right, and now try and turn back to where you think the centre of the target is. Hold it there and open your eyes. We can then measure how far away they were, and we'll do it twice more. So close your eyes and turn, back round again, and last one, close your eyes and turn, and back round again. Good, so time permitting, we could demonstrate that test as well. So that's the first part of the sensory motor control, which is our joint position error test or cervical proprioception. The next part is the oculomotor control, so if you have your thumb out in front of you. So this one we're looking to see if it reproduces any dizziness. So keeping your eyes fixed on your thumb and your head still. You're going to take your thumb to the left, take your thumb to your right. Okay, any dizziness as you're doing that at all there? Good. We can make that a bit harder by going in a bit more of a figure of 8 position with your thumb. Again, any problems as you do that there? Okay, part 2 of this test, this time, is to keep your eyes fixed on your hand, but to turn your head from side to side.
If they get dizziness, do they stop?
Yeah, so you'd stop the test, yeah. Okay, back round again. So questions that might come out of this is if they get dizziness, is that a red flag? So it's not a red flag in isolation if they just get dizziness. And actually what we've identified is what causes their dizziness. So this would actually become an exercise. So we could give this to somebody to do at home, to poke the bear. Remember that analogy of making them a bit dizzy, to desensitise them to it and get them less dizzy. The last phase then of the central motor control stuff is postural stability. So you're up to have a stand there, Oscar, to try and balance on one leg. Good, so we're looking at Oscar's general balance, and then tandem stand, so one foot in front of the other. Good, and then on one leg and reaching forwards in front of you. Excellent. So even though we're assessing his cervical spine, it's important that we look at Oscar's general balance because we know that the neck has a part to play in balance. Brilliant. So you're up with your shirt off, that's okay? And then you get to have a lie on your front. I'll do head ups in this one. So the last phase then of myogenic was to do palpation. So it's soft and bony tissue, so this is where you can get your anatomy marks. So we can go off the occiput, and we know that the first spinous process is going to be C2. We can work our way down each spinous process until we get to C6 and 7. C7 is the most prominent one. C6 disappears when you extend. Just need to lift your head up there. So I can check that I'm on the right level and back down again. That would be my spinous process. I could then come off about a finger width or a thumb width apart from the side and go down the transverse process. So that's my bony tissues. And then soft tissues would be my trigger points. So I've got upper traps. I can compare one to the other. Levator scapulae, that kind of corner of the scapula, and then rhomboids as well. And we can palpate the occiput, so we've got a lot of muscles that attach into there as well. Good. Okay, have a seat on the edge. So essentially, that is a cervical myogenic assessment.